Yosemite National Park's elegant, majestic Yosemite Hotel has a manor hall with 50-foot beam ceilings and huge windows looking out on occasionally snow-clad mountains. This is the stage for the Bracebridge Dinner. The Bracebridge Dinner is a celebrated Yuletide extravaganza that allows guests to partake in a Christmas that is rich in every aspect. A splendid array of singers and court characters tell the story of Lord Nelville Bracebridge and his household. Years ago, my family had the opportunity to attend this event. That year was in the early 80s, though, and it was one of a typical drought year for California. So instead of the park being snowed in, as it often was in December, the weather was very mild, cold at night, warm during the day, and no snow. And most importantly, no people. We had the park to ourselves. So with this idea in mind, I thought maybe just late in the fall when everybody's kids were in school, maybe the park would be pretty quiet and wouldn't have the millions of tourists that it normally does. We set out in late October, and as soon as we hit the road, it began to rain. It turns out that a lot of rain is almost as effective as a good drought. When we got to the park, it was almost empty, but it was also pouring buckets and buckets of rain. On the way into the park, we had the opportunity to stop at a lookout that looked out over the area, part of the area that the Rim Fire had burned. The Rim Fire is the third largest wildfire in California and burned 250,000 acres. It is one of a series of catastrophic wildfires that we've experienced in the last decade. Also, a little further down the road, we were able to stop at a memorial for the first woman firefighter on California Division of Forestry crew that had died in the line of duty. Eva had died fighting another fire in 2004. Our first night in the park, we camped at the first available spot that didn't have a huge puddle surrounding it. But the second night, we went to check on cancellations, and I asked if there was a particularly good spot that we could camp. She said that until the day before, they had been completely booked up, but they'd had a bunch of cancellations due to the weather and had a suggestion for a spot that she thought we might like. We spent a little time getting set up in our new spot and then went for a walk. It was at that point we realized how lucky we'd gotten. The river was at our doorway, and right past that was this incredible view of the waterfalls, which were running higher than they had in several years because of the drought. The park we had almost entirely to ourselves. The campgrounds were about 3/4 full. The overflow campground was mostly empty. The weather had really chased people off. As we settled in, the sun came out, and the weather changed for the better. We spent 2 days there hiking and exploring all of the things that Yosemite Valley has to offer an inquisitive visitor. We were there for Halloween, and we didn't have any trick-or-treaters, but we did get the opportunity to see some pretty cool costumes. There are still times in the off-season when you can visit Yosemite and have it more or less to yourself. The only downside for us was we'd planned to travel over Tioga Pass to 395 and then go north, and we weren't able to do that because the rains that we were experiencing had turned to snow up high, and it closed the road down for the season. But it was a small price to pay for having the park to ourselves for a couple of days. Yosemite Park is a wonderful place to visit any time of the year. Of course, it's very popular, and any time during the summer you will deal with a lot of visitors. There are times, however, that are maybe better in terms of the volume of people. We've found that drought years late in the season, and if you're lucky, chasing a storm and getting good weather afterwards can be very good times to visit the park. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe and like. See you next time.